Before we do get into this week's episode of Ups and Downs for SmackDown, I just want to address the hashtag speaking out movement that has been going down in the wrestling world over the last few days. I mean, frankly, it's been shocking, it's surprising, it's been harrowing, and anyone who has had the courage to speak out, well, I think you're an inspiration. And let's just hope the silver lining to all of this is to just get in there and shake the wrestling world up so nobody ever has to live in fear. That goes for any walk of life. Nobody should have to leave their house and be terrified of their own existence. We will now get into the show, we'll run the intro and we'll have some fun like we always do, but it would be awful of me not to mention it. And again, both myself and everybody at WhatCulture, our thoughts and prayers and just all the positivity go out to these people. Let's up those downs for SmackDown. Now, I can only assume that the start of SmackDown for some people was a bit like a fever dream, or at least dreams they've actually had in the past. Because not only did you have the Intercontinental Champion AJ Styles in the ring, not only did you have Daniel Bryan, but they were soon joined by the debuting Matt Riddle. And it was Styles celebrating the fact that he has won this championship, and as we found out, he's still a massive douche, because a bunch of SmackDown superstars were around the ring, and why they were there, I don't know, but this kind of trend continued, because AJ was just like, Daniel Bryan, you're on the outside, I want you to get in here, and I want you to put this belt around my waist. Now, if somebody had done that to me, I'd be like, listen, dude, no, I'm not gonna do it. But Daniel was all like, yeah, I'll do it, I don't care. I don't get it. It's just so easy to get wrestlers to do things, apparently. So in that case, I demand that Mojo Rawley gives me a call right now. Oh yeah, I'm waiting. See? I told you it would work. Hello? No, I don't want to buy insurance for Pete's sake. Jeez. Anyway, Bryan got all riled up here and he told AJ Styles, you have the potential to become the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, but what you got to do is open the door and make sure you're having challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. You should fight Big E, you should fight Grand Metalik, and you should fight that walking biscuit known as Shorty G. And AJ Styles just went, listen, Dan, that may be the way that you're going to do it, but that's not how it's going to work in AJ Styles land. People have to earn this opportunity, and I'll defend it only when I please. Bryan said that was all well and good to a point, but Drew Gulak certainly deserves a shot, because 2 weeks ago, who whooped AJ Styles' ass and pinned him for the 1-2-3? That's right, it was Drew Gulak. But AJ still wasn't going to do this, because as we've already established, he is a doofus. And we will never actually know what Gulak's thoughts on this are, because he wasn't on the show at all, but instead at this point, Matt Riddle's music did hit, and out came the bro to make his debut on SmackDown, and he wound up AJ Styles straight away. Mostly because he wasn't wearing any shoes. That's the first thing that AJ said, like, you don't need to introduce yourself, you're just some dude that's not wearing shoes. And I'm like, Styles, can you really comment on fashion? He was wearing a waistcoat with a hood. AJ told him straight up that he's not going to get a title shot, and Matt Riddle was like, I don't care about that. I just wanted to let you know that you may be the face that runs the place, but I'm now the bro that runs the show. And this all ties in because I'm the baldy that runs the TV. That doesn't work. Apparently AJ is very sensitive to other people stealing his catchphrases, because he went ballistic here and started beating up Matt Riddle, but because Matt Riddle is the new guy and apparently, maybe, who knows, about to be pushed to the moon, he was able to throw AJ Styles out the ring. Then they had a match because AJ demanded it, although he refused to put the Intercontinental title on the line. A part of me does think that maybe WWE should have announced this beforehand, because again, if they had just popped this graphic up on Twitter, there would have been hardcore fans all over the place just falling down like fish, like, oh, I can't believe we're actually going to see it. And it was, of course, a very good match. There were some shenanigans that may give us a glimpse into the future, because all the SmackDown guys round ringside stay there, and at one point Matt Riddle bumped into Baron Corbin, and everyone calmed down. Even if we do that feud, as long as Riddle wins, it doesn't matter. And then later on, Daniel Bryan just got pushed in the face by AJ Styles, because once again, AJ Styles is a dingleberry. It seems as if WWE does have big plans for Matt too, because then back in the ring, he hit the bro Derek, and he pinned AJ Styles, who has only been the Intercontinental Champion for 7 days, clean as a whistle. That is not the sound a whistle makes. Because the commentators put this over like they'd just been informed in their earpieces that they were going to get a lifetime supply of ice cream. They were just so excited and so proud. And also, again, all the guys at ringside, or at least the baby faces, they got in the ring and they were like, yeah, Matt Riddle, we've done it. So it's quite clear, again, we're going to try and make Matt Riddle a top guy. We will see what happens. It's just a very difficult situation. Also, now that it has been established, when AJ Styles eventually and ultimately attacks Matt Riddle backstage or beats him up when he's doing a promo in the ring, I expect all these good guys to come to the aid of their new friend. And if they don't, I'll pull down my pants and I'll crap all over the segment. But for now, it's getting it up. Jeff Hardy interview was next, and the good news is that this feud isn't over, because of course Jeff has to get a win. The bad news is this feud isn't over for everything we've talked about the last few weeks. Renee Young said that their feud so far has been hard to watch, and ain't that the truth? Jeff Hardy is all good. He's found redemption before, he's found redemption again, and he has to stop the Irish curse, because that guy is nothing but a bully, and that really is what has to happen here. Like, we have to send the message out to people watching that you can't just go around bullying people and then get victories. If you bully people, you get swanton bombed and whispered in the wind and pinned for the 1, 2, 3. It's an important life lesson. Apparently, we may be back to doing something with Shorty G, because he was being interviewed here, and of course, it was all about his size, it was all about his height. The question was, you're fighting Mojo Rawley later, and he's a lot taller than you. And Shorty was like, well, I don't really care that he's a lot taller than me. And I was like, why is everybody obsessed with his size, especially when there are smaller people in the company? Mojo then snuck up behind him, but as it turned out, Chad Gable had eyes in the back of his head. He turned around and he punched him right in the face. You're an idiot, Mojo. And this actually did make me think that Rawley was about to eat Shorty alive, but that's not what happened at all. Now, I get a little bit worried because we had pushed Shorty G, the Instagram post, so many times and nothing becomes of it. Wait and see. And yeah, sure, the match was short, but it was oddly entertaining. And of course, how did Gable win with the most devastating move in all the sports entertainment? Do your limbo body. Pull it down, that is up to 43. We didn't even start this at the beginning of the year. However, I'm going to give it an up. That's mostly because I want to remain positive. These are two guys that should be being utilized more. Like, Chad Gable is just a phenomenal wrestler, and every time WWE does give Mojo Rawley something to do, he makes it work. So let's not just have them vanish as what happens all the time. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Poor Chad Gable though, he is not allowed anything. Because as soon as this match was done, Corey Graves on commentary was going, well, I'm not going to give any plaudits to Chad, to Shorty G. I think it's just Mojo Rawley screwing up again. I mean, give him something, maybe a nice chocolate coating so he can be a more delicious biscuit. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose then continue to utterly justify their recent pushes. Give it up. Rose was a guest on Miz TV, and the only thing that sucked here was that Miz and John Morrison got over everything that had happened at Backlash in around about 6.5 seconds. I mean, they barely addressed it. The Miz just went, I shouldn't have done that to you, John Morrison, at the pay-per-view, I am sorry. And John Morrison was like, wait, because he's slowly turning into the Fonz. So what a waste of my life that was. Clearly Braun Strowman versus these two was just a filler feud because WWE couldn't come up with anything else. And what does that say about what is meant to be one of the top titles in the entire company? I'll remember this on my deathbed. In fact, it's probably the last thing I remember, and that will ruin and wreck my whole life. It's called hyperbole, that's called exaggeration, but it's also called a down. Should have just cooked an egg twice. That would have been a better use of my time. Anyway, this was all one big trick, because although Mandy Rose was meant to be the guest on said talk show, halfway through the Miz went, we've got somebody else, and it's Sonya Deville. And Sonya Deville came to the ring with all the rage and thunder in the world. But she just ripped into her former friend and said, look, listen, the only reason you have got to where you've got to is because of how you look. So I'm going to change all that by making you as hideous on the outside as you are on the inside. Pretty sure that was also the plot for the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman. Understandably, this sparked a massive brawl, and because Deville is an absolute coward, she hit behind Miz that allowed her to escape, and Mandy was so put out by all of this, as she should have been, she just slapped the Miz right in his face. This was so well done though. Both Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville understand their characters perfectly. They understand what the feud is. And please, WWE, when this is done, when this is over, don't just drop them and forget about them. Use them. That will be worthwhile. I could be wrong as well, but I swear Michael Cole said before all of this, hey, we're about to see a new Miz and John Morrison music video. And not only did we not see a music video, nobody even referenced it. This was like the disappearance of Drew Gulak over again. Again, I may be mistaken, but sometimes watching WWE hurts my brain, makes it feel like I'm losing my mind. And while there was no reason for it, the New Day were then taking on the Lucha House Party in a non-title match. But obviously this was going to be really good, because listen to the teams that were in it. And also I found the footage that showed how it got made.
Yes, no anchovies. Last time you put anchovies over the whole thing and you ruined the pizza. Hang on, I have to deal with something. Alakaboo, alakazam, I want a tag team match on SmackDown. New Day versus Lucha House Party. Wizard in the sky, making the matches you want to see. General manager of WWE. That rhymed.
It was fun. For some reason, Bayley and Sasha Banks were doing commentary for this, but they were very entertaining, so I didn't care. And we also saw that Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura were watching this from backstage. And of course, if the TV is where the camera lens is, they were watching it like this. Because nobody in wrestling can watch televisions properly, we have to give ourselves back problems when we're really old. Well, let me tell you, at one point, Gran Metalik and Vince Dorado did these two incredible simultaneous dives outside of the ring, and I watched it and was a bit like, man, that is just the most incredible, it's like an eagle in the sky. Everything was all right for a few seconds, and then they crashed down, and then they got their asses whipped. And they were obviously never going to win, but I would like WWE to use them more because they're some of the best high flyers you could hope to see. But eventually Big E and Kofi Kingston hit the midnight hour, and they got the pinfall. They are still your champions, obviously, because it's a non-title match. At this point, Cesaro and Nakamura decided, well, we're going to run out there, and we're going to kick them right in the ass. And that's what they did. And after they'd beaten them up too, they gave them a giant swing, they went to commentary so they could be heard. And Cesaro, he lost his mind. He's like, I don't get any respect. I'm always treated like dirt. For 8 years, I've been treated like crap. No more. No more. I look forward to him losing again soon. If you're wondering where the Forgotten Sons have gone as well, they have been forgotten intentionally. This is one of those times when WWE has made the right move. This whole story did need to be kicked off TV, and I'm happy it has. We zoomed to the back afterwards where Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, Naomi, and Alexa Bliss were just hanging out. And this was the strangest shot ever because everybody was wearing black apart from Naomi, who was wearing orange, but it actually worked for her because she stood out and she looked like a damn hero. They all want a shot at Bayley's championship when Alexa Bliss was like, wait a minute, where the hell is Nikki Cross? This is a bit like when you leave the house and you go, oh no, where's my keys? And then you freak out and you start emptying all your pockets and you open your own head trying to find your keys until you look in your other hand and realize you were holding the keys the entire time. And then you just look like an idiot. I also want to ask why Lacey has just forgotten about her feud with Sonya Deville. Do you remember that? They had 2 matches on SmackDown. They were basically even, and now nobody is talking about it. There was more bizarreness after this because we were having an interview with Sheamus, who said he wanted to crush Jeff Hardy's voice box. Voice box? Call it a throat. Call it a larynx. Do you think Jeff Hardy has what? Do you remember back in the day with Kane? My name is Kane. Do you think Jeff Hardy has one of those? I'm Jeff Hardy and I need help. No, he doesn't. Also, what the hell was that with the big red machine? Do you remember that? The first time he talked? The blood on you Sunday often will be for real. It's like, what? What are we doing? And then X-Pac went, you don't need it. And Kane went, suck it. Wrestling is so weird. Anyway, that is what Sheamus is going to do. He's going to crush Jeff Hardy's voice just so that he doesn't have to hear him whimper anymore. Although next week, he is going to have a celebration in his honor. You tell me. It also turned out that Banks and Bayley had stayed on commentary throughout this entire time, and that turned out to be a huge mistake because we actually found out where Nikki Cross was. She'd clearly been creeping through the Performance Center like some kind of velociraptor, and she jumped them both here and started to beat them up, and Alexa Bliss also came out and joined them, and it ended in a match between Sasha Banks and Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross lost. What a moron. Goes to show that you shouldn't just go around picking fights. However, I actually thought this was quite entertaining. The finish happened when Cross went for a sunset flip, but Sasha was able to reverse out for it and hit her with a Meteora and get the 1, 2, 3. And look, I've been asking for clean finishes. This was a clean finish. It only helped Sasha Banks, and also there was loads of storytelling ever since those two were on commentary that Sasha Banks and Bayley are probably going to get broken up at some stage. Good. Yes. Fine. The Firefly Funhouse was then back, and well played to WWE for keeping it off television. I liked the fact I hadn't seen it in, about a month, because then when it did come back and you had the you're gonna man that you're my friend, I was like, sweet, we haven't had one of these in ages, I'm gonna lock myself in, and boy howdy when I saw it, I locked myself in hard. Giving it up. Wyatt let us know what he had been doing in his own absence, and it was 3 specific things. 1 was resurrecting the dead. 2 was coming up with TikTok moves, and 3 was learning how to knit. And my only thought here was, do not get those 3 things mixed up. Rambling Rabbit then popped up to say, well, that's not entirely true, Mr. Bray Wyatt, because what you've actually been doing is sitting in a chair and just brooding and stewing and being really mad because you can't handle the fact that you lost to Braun Strowman a month or so ago. Bray Wyatt didn't really disagree. At this very moment, though, the Universal Champion did storm to the ring and he got a microphone. He went, "Get these hands! Bray, I'm done with this chapter. I beat you no more." And I was like, I see what you're doing, Braun. I see it on social media all the time. So when people go on Twitter and they tweet, "I am not going to use Twitter for a while, I'm going away." Whereas really, if you were just going to leave Twitter, you'd leave, or it's the Facebook. Facebook is the other equivalent one. I'm writing, I have had the worst day. And then someone replies, babe, hun, what's up? And they go, I can't talk about it. It's attention, and that's what Braun Strowman wanted here. He just wanted some attention. However, my word, did I love the ending to this, because Bray Wyatt agreed that yes, this chapter is over, but that's only because a new chapter is beginning. He wasn't joking about learning how to resurrect the dead, and then he resurrected himself, as nuts as that sound, and he transformed into Wyatt family Bray Wyatt, and I cheered as if I just won the flipping lottery. And the main reason is, just the other day I was thinking to myself, there is still so much more we can do with that character. We just have to give it a while so we all forget how terribly he was booked. But hey, I don't care if you want to speed that up and put it here, because then I was like, man, do you know what we can do now? We can have an updated version of Mick Foley. I mean, he's already using the mandible claw, but you could have the 3 faces of Bray Wyatt. You got the Fiend, you got the Firefly Funhouse guy, and now you've got this one. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. It makes me want to run. It's also a bit like looking into the haunted past of Braun Strowman, because of course it was Wyatt family Bray Wyatt that created him, or at least that's what he thinks, and SmackDown went off air when he picked up his lantern and went, of course then the lights went out. End. What I really want to happen now, I've decided, is I want Bray Wyatt to win the Universal Championship at SummerSlam. I know that's miles away, but SummerSlam is kind of synonymous with Bray Wyatt now. It's where he debuted originally, and it's where The Fiend had his first match, which had kind of turned that into like his version of The Undertaker's WrestleMania. This is great. This is awesome. Get Braun Strowman that stupid title picture, give it to Bray Wyatt, and have him hold it for 37,000 years. That's right, I said it, and I'm standing by it. So all in all, I thought it was a pretty damn good episode of SmackDown. All the stories make sense, we had some good matches, it got me all pumped up, there was a surprise ending. What more do you want on a Saturday morning, or in this case, a Friday night? I live in England, so I watch it first thing. Anyway, overall, it's getting up. Now don't forget to let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, subscribe, the button is right there. Head over to WhatCulture.com where you can read more articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE, and watch more videos here on the old YouTube, WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you again for joining me for another week. Stay safe, stay strong, I love you all. Catch you on the other side.